Practice has been good. Just continuing to try to get better. Guys are excited about the second half of the Big 12. It's about 4 or 5 seasons within the season in college basketball, and certainly the second half of conference play is one of the most important parts as you gear towards March.
What's made Jericho Sims so effective offensively from what you've seen on tape?
He's an NBA player. He's got length and athleticism. Shaka does a great job with those guys. Sims has worked on his game. He's one of the most improved players in the league. Can play facing the basket this year, getting a lot done around the basket. Great defender, shot blocker. One of the better players in the Big 12.
Outside of him, who kind of worries you when you watch Texas play?
Yeah, everybody worries me every time we play. So much respect for the opponent and the players and coaches in this league. And Texas is no different. Got a great coach, got really good players, got a great home court. We'll have to play our best 40 of the year to have a chance.
With Jericho, I know everything kind of runs, most things kind of run with him. How important are the guards to that offense, just kind of getting things going for them?
Coleman's one of the best players in the Big 12. He's been around for a long time. A guy that's gotten better each year. He really controls their teams. Ramey, same type thing. Febris is one of the best shooters in the Big 12. So Texas definitely has the combination between perimeter players and post players that you need to compete in this league.
What kind of impact has getting Andrew Jones back for them been?
Well, the basketball side of it is he's a really good player, one of the best shooters in the Big 12. He's a versatile guard, plays on both ends of the floor. And of course, the personal side of it, everything that he's overcome with his battle against illness, so much respect for him. He's actually from my hometown, Irving, Texas, so there's been a special connection between me and him and his father. More than anything, just respect. So certainly he was on our thoughts and prayers while he was overcoming that, and that's just a cool thing. The basketball is just competition and just a game, but to see him fight life and to be back on the court, there's nobody we respect more in the league than him.
When you go into the second half of Big 12 play, do you kind of treat it as a blank slate, or do you still kind of hold what you learned in the first half? And
a little both. With each game in the Big 12, it's a new opportunity. The second half of conference, to me, is where it always kind of things get settled. Who's in the fight for the conference championship, who's in the fight for the NCAA tournament, whose backs are against the wall and they need to win a few in a row to get on a roll. Great thing about our league is you sit here today, everyone, no matter what your record is right now, is still in the fight. In this league, if you can win 3 or 4 games in a row, you put yourself back in contention. When you drop a couple, you feel like the world's coming to an end, which is not.
Chris, you mentioned after the game that you said you have some guys from time to time that don't want to be coached, and you said that's new for you. How have you been addressing something like that?
It's like we coach every team, just reminding the guys that we have a standard of excellence here. We're not changing our expectations for any one player or one team or one game. The idea around here is to win every game on the schedule. It's really hard to do, but it's possible. When the ball goes up in a 40-minute game, every game's winnable. And so that's our standard. That's what we work towards each day as the next game on the schedule. We also work towards becoming the best team we can be. And I think, from time to time, everybody in the organization, not just players, everybody from time to time needs to be reminded of why we're here, what's our standard, what's our expectations, because those things are never going to change.
What have you seen from Jemias in conference play? How have you seen him grow as a player in his first year here?
Well, he's definitely getting better. Sometimes you don't see the improvement from day to day or game to game, but there's definitely a trend going upward. He's continuing to work on his craft, starting way back in the summer when he arrived Lubbock up until today. He puts in the time. He wants to be great. He has a high expectation for himself. All great players do. I think he's really improved on the defensive end. That's a work in progress for him. Offensively, he's playing in different ways, not just with the ball in his hands. He's made some of the best passes of our team in conference play. Some of the times when he finds Morrow for big shots or finds Kyler for big shots. So he's just a guy like everybody on our roster that's trying to get better, and I think he's doing a great job.
And last one for me, when you look at Mac, how do you, defensively you've raved about him all year long, but on the offensive side of the ball, how do you really want to see his game evolve?
Mac's doing great. Again, to me, it's never been about basketball. It's been about him overcoming the adversity. The latest adversity was the concussion protocol. Once again, he answers the bell. He gets himself ready and really helps us in our last game against Oklahoma. So Mac is skilled. He's a big guard, kind of positionless player. Can play anywhere from the 1 to this year. He's in there banging around, helping us win possessions on the boards. He's a dribble, pass, shoot guy. He's got a huge upside in college basketball. It'll be all about his aggressiveness and patience as he runs his own race to try to be the best player he can be.
Who is playing well for you right now, and in what areas, and who do you need to step up in what areas?
Well, I think obviously you can't deny the games Holyfield's put together. So proud of him and his consistency. He too is overcoming some adversity with different kind of things with his body, but I'm kind of proud of his approach. And I would say that even if he didn't have the 18-8 game, I just like the way he's approaching the game right now. Our young guys are trying the best they can do to be followers, and our older guys, Morrow, Collar, and Avery, those three guys that have been around this program for years, are trying the best they can do to be leaders. So I think the effort's there, but this time of year, effort doesn't give you any points on the scoreboard. It's about playing well and producing, and I'm optimistic in these next 9 games we're going to do that.
Chris Clark and Terrence Shannon physically capable of playing tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. Chris is still trying to come back from the ankle, but he's been practicing basically without restriction. And then TJ Shannon, has had a few issues with his back along the way. He's doing a great job as a young guy in the training room with Mike Neal. Been really committed to taking care of his body. So as I talked to you guys this morning, I think that our roster is intact. I get that injury report every day from Mike Neal, our trainer. But as of right now, I'm thinking everybody will play in Austin.
Kind of going on the road after that Kansas game, I guess what did the young guys kind of learn, and what do you kind of feel this team is going to have to kind of show you going on the road again?
All sorts of things to learn every time we play, through wins and also through running out of time from time to time. I think the Kansas game, on the positive side, we had some real spurts. On the obvious need for improvement side, you can't start the game like that. I think we get down 15-2, 17-2, and we somehow get ourselves back in the game, really with several minutes left in the first half. So I think there's a lot of stretches in that game that we were pretty pleased with. But overall, to beat a team like Kansas, to beat a team like Texas, the next game on the schedule, you have to play a complete 40 minutes. And, at Kansas, I think we probably played 32 or 33 minutes, well enough to win.
Tyreek, how has he been progressing? I know we've seen him without the boot for a while, and he's been back in practice, I assume.
Yeah, he's practicing now.
Is he a potential redshirt option right now?
Yeah, I mean, Carlos, the season's getting later, man. You guys ask that all the time. So, he's practicing right now. We make those decisions, as the season goes on.
Sure.
When TJ Holyfield's making that top of the key three, what can it sort of do to open up your offense?
Yeah, it's big. Ain't no doubt about it. Game's easier to play when you can space out on the floor. And, we saw that last year with Tariq developing his game. And, Holyfield's always been a good shooter. For him, it's just when to be aggressive and when to make the right basketball play. I think as the season goes on, there's no secret. We're asking him to be a lot more aggressive offensively. And as of late, he's really answering the call.
And then what have you seen from him sort of progressing throughout the season defensively?
He was one of our best defenders the day he got here. That was in his DNA. That was his identity at Stephen F. Austin, where he played for Coach Keller and those guys down there. And Jeremy did a great job with him defensively. You guys have seen it. He can guard different positions. He can block shots. He's tough enough to take charges. He can guard a ball screen in different ways. So he's definitely a guy that we recruited with defense in mind. He's really done a great job with that. As of late, he's doing a better job keeping himself out of foul trouble. That's decision making and discipline. So I've been really pleased with Holyfield.